My sphere of activity is the green space, ecology, the circle of life. I get to teach, I talk, and I ask a lot of questions. What are you doing? How are you making this green stuff work? How is this working for you? What can I learn from it? I ask my fellow humans, and I ask nature. And asking questions is, frankly, one of the things that keeps me going in the line of work I do at this time. Over about 30-odd years of doing it, I have become Green Gene Ponzi. Nice work if you can get it. And one question I have asked, frankly, almost all my life, I pose to you now. What is the nature of negativity? What is its true nature? We have a lot of assumptions. We have a lot of messages about negativity. It's like a great big dark umbrella over our whole society right now. But in a world that is, well, from the point of view of two, you have complements. You don't necessarily have oppositions. And frankly, on this planet where everything works in systems and cycles and interconnected interrelationships, it does not stand to reason that one hemisphere of a whole can be bad. Not true. No. One of my hobbies is saying no. So, negativity. It is something that I believe we need. It is something that I believe we need to understand. And how have I come on my journey to explore that question and to get to sharing this point with you tonight? Well, I am not one of those people who was born green. In fact, I come from pink roots. I am a true daughter of the middle. And where I was raised, the guiding principles, the encouragement, were a lot of not tos. Not to overstay your welcome, not to help yourself to that last piece of cake, and for a girl especially, not to be too loud, too opinionated, or heaven forbid, too smart. Well, guess what? I am a girl, and I am smart, and I am living proof that a lot of those kinds of not tos are not true. So I left the middle and ventured out into feminist awareness. And in the 1970s, it was a very cool and a very hot time to be a young feminist. But I looked around and I saw that a lot of the kind of characteristics that a human being like me embodies were not valued, not respected, even considered unclean. Qualities like receptive, collaborative, reflective, and once a month, empty. Bad? Not. I also ventured around some world philosophies. This was a chance for a girl from the middle to see how other human beings think about things and how we formulated our beliefs and our perceptions about life over time. And one day, out in that realm of world philosophies, there it was. The symbol of two as each other's perfect partners, complements, each other's levers, changing into one another and dancing with one another, transforming into one another's natures. And I saw this as Ginger Rogers in high heels, tap dancing backwards. There was a role for me, and if you don't know who Ginger Rogers is, she's in the movies, look her up. You'll be glad you did. So, on I go. This is where Green Girl begins to sprout. I discovered environmental education, the discipline, the practice that has become my profession. And one of the wonderful things about environmental education is there is almost never an entirely right and an entirely wrong way of looking at things and deciding about things, because we're dealing with human beings here. We have our values, we have our experiences, we have our perspectives. So as a good environmental educator, my job is not to tell you what to think or what to do. My job is to give you the best information I can and help you make the best decision you can at any given time. Another time, more information, you might make a different decision. Frankly, that ambiguity really appeals to questioning me. And I also began to observe nature from the point of view of real intelligent inquiry and to see how negative qualities and things in nature are beautiful and functional and elegant. Every deciduous tree early in the year starts to put on this phenomenally generous show and productivity that throughout the entire growing season provides food from sunlight and oxygen for the entire animal kingdom and dappled light filtering down and shade to cool us. And then as the light begins to wane, all that glorious productivity is let go. And the trees are willing to stand dormant for another season. In the natural world, everybody becomes somebody's lunch. Is this bad? Depends on which side of the menu you're on. And this is my favorite: zero waste. In nature, absolutely every waste material, from leftover lunch to last year's nest to dead bodies to poop, becomes food or habitat for some other living thing, quickly, generously, with great efficiency and reciprocity. We mimic this in our human recycling practice, but nature has zero down. So, really one of the best parts, one of the most wonderful parts of my experience that has brought me to talk to you tonight is the show that I do on KDHX, St. Louis Independent Media, Earthworms. This is, once a week since 1988, a conversation that I get to have with human beings of all kinds, doing all kinds of things, many from St. Louis, but also from all around our planet, about what they are learning and what we can learn from them. I've had the opportunity to talk to world-class scientists and middle school students, and in every one of these interactions, the benefit to me is the same. I don't have to know all about that stuff. I don't have to be the expert. I just have to ask good questions and listen and care and have a conversation. And you get to listen in. And over 30 years of having these kinds of conversations and hearing what human beings are doing, frankly, I am encouraged in the face of all the issues that we are dealing with. Because humans have the capacity to find the solutions in the problems, not just cause them. So here are 3 examples. The artist and the invasive plant. This is bush honeysuckle, the kudzu of Missouri. This is really, it's a beautiful plant. It puts on lovely fragrant flowers in the spring and glossy red berries in the fall. It's a sturdy woody. It grows to be like a small tree. But this species of honeysuckle, bush honeysuckle, Lonicera macchii, happened to be moved around the planet, not by itself, guess who, by humans, for various reasons not too well thought through, like it's pretty. And here, in this part of the world, it has no peeps. No insects plague it. No diseases take it down. So it does what plants do. It grows, and it takes over everything. Our forests, our roadways, our stream banks, and it becomes the most amazing privacy hedge in suburban lawns, which tends to mitigate against people wanting to take it out. But we need to take it out because we need to be able to see and experience and treasure and cultivate the forest and the trees, not just one plant. So here's where the artist comes along. Artists, you gotta watch them. Looking at this bush, happens to be a woodworker, this particular artist, looking at the branching structure of bush honeysuckle, very sturdy, very interesting, the kind of joinery human beings cannot do, only nature can do. Harvests those things and turns them upside down and turns them into tables. And teaches other people how to make tables from bush honeysuckle. And while we're all thinking about tables, we might have a conversation with this funny-looking little folk art stick thing in the middle of our living room, maybe even a conversation with our neighbor that is a better starting place about this invasive species issue than your privacy hedge is my problem, which frankly doesn't get too great a result. So, example number 2. Technology, humans working with Earth. This starts with water, the stuff of life. Every living being on the planet needs water, loves water. But in this time of weather extremes and climate shifts, we tend to have things like gully washer rain events and flooding and typhoons and hurricanes that are bigger than ever before. So the systems that we have built to handle that water that falls, our stormwater management systems, concrete pipes and drainage ditches and culverts get completely overrun, and that stormwater cannot be effectively treated before it goes downstream to become someone's drinking water. This is a problem. Enter a solution: people and plants. This is called green infrastructure. It's building landscape features that leverage the capacity of plants to do things like capture that water and let it filter down and recharge the precious aquifer in beautiful situations like this giant bioswale in the middle of the parking lot of Missouri Botanical Garden. These kinds of solutions are so effective, they're so cost-effective, and they're so popular that here in St. Louis, our Metropolitan Sewer District is giving people grants to put them on their property, and it is working. We would never raise the kind of tax funds to rebuild the sewer pipes, but green infrastructure is definitely making headway. And what I especially love about the plants and the technology and the people working together is that it doesn't put the concrete guys out of work. It leverages in a whole nother sector, the plantswomen and the plantsmen who can design and install and maintain these features. It's an economic development opportunity also. And it's something more ecological and interesting than just cutting the grass. Example number 3. This comes from the work I've been doing for the last 10 years. I manage a program called the St. Louis Green Business Challenge. Challenge participants, I'm sure, they're almost everywhere around town these days. The challenge works with businesses of all kinds to help each one green up the kinds of day-to-day operations that are common to every business. And my job as the coach of the companies is to go in there and help them do the things that will grow the deepest roots for sustainable policy and practice and work the best with each company's unique goals and culture. But when this dropped in my lap, I was so intimidated and I was so put off because I am so not a business person. I am a middle-aged, tree-hugging, Birkenstock-wearing, environmentalist feminist, and they send me into businesses. They send me into businesses to tell them what to do that's green, and they do it. Because what are businesses? They are people. They are communities of colleagues, of human enterprise. Yes, they're organized to make a profit. Yes, making a profit and generating benefits in various ways is not a bad thing. But when you get people together doing things like digging in the trash at their corporate headquarters to figure out ways to make their recycling work better, so many solutions can be created and implemented out of the problems. And what I've seen over these 10 years, not from every business on the planet, that's true, but from many, businesses Organized groups of creative people are changing their policies and their practices and their purchasing up and down supply chains and their expectations of one another, because business gets that if we don't have a functional planet, nobody does business. So as long as they'll have me, I'll continue wearing my Birkenstocks into corporate headquarters. No question in my mind that human beings are at the root of some pretty serious problems. And we also have within us the capacity to create and implement solutions to those problems. I have seen the ways in which we're doing that, and we need to do it more. And in order to be doing that, I believe that from the point of view of two, we need to be playing with a full deck. We need to integrate negative and positive, working with their true natures in balance, dancing with each other. So let's call the things that we're calling negative now by some of their true names. Let's call them greed, lying, misogyny, racism. And let's take down that umbrella of negativity that shelters those things and gives them the opportunity to do what they want in the shadows. And let's be clear about negative feelings. Anger is a motivator. It gets you up off your duff to do what needs to be done. But when you're always in that angry mode, if this is me, I'm the one that's going to drive into the wall. It's my blood pressure on the line. And fear sounds the alarm, gets you out of the way. But when the alarm is constantly going off, you're paralyzed. Your functionality is nil. And sadness. Sadness washes our hearts so that we can continue to feel the full range of what it means to be alive on this beautiful planet that we share. But when there's too much sadness, we can drown. So let us partner up with negativity. Let us partner up with one another and do that from whatever space we're living and working in. I work in the green space. That is my vocation. But where are you? What do you love to do? Are you a musician? Are you an engineer? Are you a physician? Are you a mom? Wherever you are, whatever you love doing, do the green thing as much as you can. There, I believe it will enrich your life. And let us partner up with nature, who has been doing green and thriving and sustaining life much longer than we have. So much that we can learn from nature. Let's partner up together and put on our pink high heels and tap dance backwards into the green space.